pretty good here. That would be where the dolphin is, right?
Yeah. Is that the tail?
So, I can't believe that there's even this much left after all these years.
25 years, huh?
Para propósito.
Senhoras e senhores, sejam bem-vindos a Ilhéu.
We just have to be as careful as possible as to not brush away too much. I definitely see a brush stroke here. Looks like right here we have the arms. Time became a major factor. We thought if this can't be done this year, then it'll probably never be done because this is eroding so quickly. There's portions of it that are gone that were there last year.
It's like a ghost. There's one dolphin in between each guy.
And then the people in the middle, half of the amount of the dolphins.
There you go.
I don't see why we can't start the chalk.
I was at School of Visual Arts in New York in 1978, and Keith was in my class. I met Kenny in the Club 57, which is this club on St. Mark's Place, and we all became very good friends. We became like a family. I was in Brazil, and I was coming back right before Carnival. So Kenny called me and says, "Oh, stay, and I come for Carnival to stay with you." I say, "Okay, come, let's go to Bahia." We got to the airport and we saw this really cute girl. Me and Kenny sit down, and there was another seat left, and she came in the plane. And we're like, "Oh, hi, and come sit with us." And I was sitting in the window, Kenny was sitting next, so Kenny got the girl.
And we started talking, and then she was going to Carnival for Salvador. The next thing I knew, we were going somewhere together. I left Bruno.
14 days later, I went to meet him in New York. Kenny was living in New York. He had no family, but he had like 100 friends that was his family. I met Keith right away. I met Jean-Michel a little bit afterwards. Was parties, was dinners, was openings, and Madonna was just becoming famous, but she was not really famous. So she was always performing at the garage. All of a sudden, I'm in New York, but I'm not only in New York, I'm in New York in the middle of the happening scene. 3 months later, I got pregnant. I got pregnant and I was like, oh man, this is too crazy. So I came back and that was the time where we got this piece of land here.
Xana was born in 1984, and that's where the whole gang went down there, completely invade the house. It was a tiny little fisherman's house and not a little cabana they had.
All my friends came down from New York to see the baby.
And so we went there, and that's the first time that Keith came to Brazil.
He came here a lot when I was really, really young, so I have my memories of being here with him are kind of more like flashes, sort of kind of thing. I'm trying to think my very earliest memory of him. I think it might have been here, actually. I think it might have been here. Always drawing and painting and just something creative, something fun. I felt like it was a huge creative family that raised me. I'm really thankful for that.
In the beginning of 1986, I meet Juan Rivera at Paradise Garage one night, and I see this incredibly beautiful boy. 2 weeks, I invite him to come with me to Brazil, where I'm going for a month, which at this point had already done twice before, and this is going to be my third trip to spend in Brazil with Kenny for about usually a month at a time.
We had no electricity. We had a pump for water, like a generator pump. The road was really bad.
We all painted, Keith painted, I painted, Kenny, everybody, did things, the music or object or whatever. And then in the evening, we go to sleep with the sun, actually. That's how we lived.
Life was just moving so fast. He was so huge. He was everywhere.
Walking around with Keith, well, everybody said hi to him. We couldn't really go far with him anywhere. All the famous people, for them, being an artist was like amazing.
This was a great place for him because it was a refuge from the pace. There was no contact, so it was really removed. The whole black line around the whole edge.
But it looks like it's got a kind of a fatter bottom lip.
It's almost touching the arm going up. Oh, that's good.
Keith he studied semiotics at SVA, and so he had a hang on communication. He knew very well how to communicate through signs, a lot of his work was about that.
He created his own alphabet. And, it was so much about how symbols and letters are so similar. So he was writing with symbols, telling stories, all the time, commenting on everything.
Doesn't that look like a black line right there? Oh, it's the head.
Oh, good.
Within the work itself, it sort of had this need or desire or this ability to communicate and to speak almost as a language. And the source of this was in a kind of idea of language and a pictorial language which was timeless sort of style that had existed in Eskimo drawings and Mayan ruins and African work. And it was sort of a common denominator of a way of speaking, a way of communicating, which was a very old way of speaking.
It was a meta language that he was using, and so, people understand him everywhere. I mean, even the fishermen understand him perfectly well.
And maybe we have to move this dolphin further out.
Because he could not really use the words that they use, which is Portuguese. He would just draw, and they couldn't believe it. The guy that wanted to climb a coconut, he was trying to explain to Keith how he climbed the coconut, and Keith wanted him to draw the apparatus that he used to climb the coconut, and the guy could not do it, and then he had to go and get one to show him. And then he did it one, and the guy was so blown away because he drew exactly what he had in his hand, and he couldn't believe it.
We have, it looks like sections of 4 or 5 dolphins that are there out of 8, and there's part of the 6th right there. There was quite a bit more than we had actually initially perceived. There was a lot of line work that we were able to match completely, and that made me happy because not only did it make it easier, but it made it more authentic. Right in there. You can see it.
Us.
Look goes as we uncover
There it
this.
is. Right there, head to arm. Keith Haring.
Look at how fresh that black paint
appears.
is. It's almost as if it was put on there yesterday.
We need sandpaper. Should we try sandpaper?
Maybe with this technique, we'll be able to find some more of the original line work.
Okay.
This is a similar technique to what
We did
you
for the wall.
used for the wall.
See? The original painting was on a pink wall. You can see the pink. It was made the first year we were here, so it'd be 84. First year Keith was here. He was always scoping out good places to do paintings. There was like little things everywhere, you know. Little thing here, little thing there, and then some other friends. Everybody did something somewhere. So they were scattered all over the place.
He played in the bar, he painted everywhere. And all the people come from the village, come and look at the house, and then, it's really great.
I painted it over once probably 10 years ago, and then it got painted over.
The brother of Teresa had it painted with white lime. And lime eats up the paint, you know, because it's always too old, and they just painted white over.
And I was very, very upset.
And we all knew there was a thing behind, because remember, I had photos, I had the drawings of, you know, we all knew there was this thing behind. And at one point it started raining and a lot of the paint came out, and you could barely see traces of it. We were there, Rafa, Kenny, me, and Ellie Sudbrack.
It was a very kind of organic moment. It was like, oh, well, what are we gonna do today? Let's restore Keith's mural.
He said, why don't you just sand it off? And I said, well, that would make me nervous. We tried it.
We go over and over very carefully not to take too much. And then slowly start to see the thing coming through, coming through, coming through.
All of a sudden, the line appeared, and it was amazing, you know? And so we proceeded to sand it off, the whole thing, and there it was. And what happened was we took out the paint, but it left a negative. So exactly the line.
From that came this idea that, hey, if we were able to restore that, why not try and come back to the cabana here and see if we can restore this mural that was virtually 1 year ago to the day.
Vamos comprar tinta.
When he came down to visit and was here painting, did you notice any of his imagery starting to change from the surrounding environment, like just being in such a different place than he's normally exposed to?
Well, that's when he started doing this capoeira dancing drawing and the pregnant ladies.
The dolphins.
Kenny insists in saying that the pregnant women was me, but he was around so many pregnant women because he loved going to Puerto Rican neighborhoods. He loved the boys, but he also loved the wives and the pregnant wives and the kids, you know?
Children still have this incredible sense that gets them through the world, and sort of they can sense danger, they can sense fear.
I think he just is a really young soul. Could relate to us. We would draw on the beach together a lot. He would kind of start and I would help him. My dad and him were like the two really fun adults that didn't make me feel like I was a kid, that made me feel like I was just one of them. They were the same age as I was.
Children were comfortable with me and I was comfortable with them. It's partly from probably having a funny face to begin with and sort of looking like a kid and acting like a kid. They can sort of sense a honesty in the drawing.
All artists observe the world around and spit out back. At that time, coming from New York, or coming from Europe or whatever, it was like an assault on all the senses, because the colors and the shapes, it was really mad, it was wild. It was a huge impact. You walk on the street going like, whoa, 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 you know? In New York, you didn't have that. The world was very different. He gave me a beautiful series called Bad Boys. They're all drawings of the bad boys in Bahia, all his friends there.
An environment like this, if it's not necessarily going to make you draw palm trees and waves, it will definitely help open you up to a different vibration, you know, that normally takes place in the city. So pure here. The light, the colors, it has to affect you.
Azul e branco. Você tem?
So we get that when we just mix it with white. 3, isso.
3 do azul real.
Quanto? How many we need?
2 for each color,
Yeah.
because they
Seis.
may dry out.
6.
Begun.
The first stroke.
And it's the perfect size brush. Like the same brushes from Bahia.
Feeling so fine, feeling good, I'm pretty high.
It was amazing to watch him paint. It was incredible. Actually doing it was very much a part of the work. I was in Central Park with Keith one time, and he was looking for a place to draw. And we were walking somewhere, and I said, this is really beautiful. It was like on the floor. He was doing chalk drawings on the floor. And he said, yeah, but there's nobody here. It's like, who cares? It's like, well, yeah, no, I do care a lot. And then he did a drawing like fast, and then we found a spot that was much less pretty, but there's a lot of people around. You know, it was a performance. That's very much what it was. And what you got there after was the memento of this performance rather than a piece.
Hi, Zan. Keep them over there.
The way he worked was so magical, was so fast.
Each stroke was like a gesture to the beat. Like you dip the paint and you stroke it. And you dip the paint and you stroke it.
His lines translate almost like a marker on paper, except just with an increased scale.
Well, it wasn't easy, but it was easier than I thought when I looked at it 3 days ago. Wow, that's cool. Woo! All right. Can't wait for the color. Today is azul. When I met Keith, he was painting himself into a corner, literally. He was doing this painting on the floor and the walls. He took over this empty room and just didn't ask for permission. He just set upon himself to do it. I had just arrived from LA, and I remember thinking that nobody seemed like I imagined art school kids to be. They seemed very suburban, like the kids that I've seen in California. Felt kind of disappointed. And then I saw this guy, Keith, painting to the Devo music in his room by himself. And I was like, okay, this is what I was looking for.
He touched so many people, whether they knew him or he knew them. That's a really special thing.
He made friends with all the fishermen family. He would go up and down this beach giving t-shirts to all of them.
One thing that makes me so happy is seeing people that still have the t-shirts and still have, you know, like little pieces and remember him so well. He was just beloved by everyone.
He befriended this family on the other side of the river. We went there one day and he painted the door and the windows. It was amazing. They were so happy. Here is very much about survival and, you know, living life day by day, and just like they're happy that they live today and they got the fish and they survived that day. That drawing and painting is not something part of the everyday life, and he brought that to them. So many people after that, they got into the drawing, they got into painting and figures. He had a major influence on the beach.
It's hard to not think of what it would have been like if he was around, even just for a few more years. What else he would have done, where else he would have painted. How many other lives he would have changed.
Good day again.
I'm mixing 2 quarts of a light blue, which is going to make up the center part of the mural.
Obviously, somebody's going to preserve a Michelangelo a little bit different than they would a Jackson Pollock. I tried to think about in context to the artist and the time period and how old it is, and
and think about what the best way to do it. Are we gonna try and bring down our own paint that's, you know, super archival or the perfect for cement? Trying to keep it simple became not only an easy solution, but the most sensible. It fell in line with Keith's work. I mean, he came here, he painted this in one day and moved on to the next piece of work.
There's no rule about murals or what we're doing because we want to. When he did all those subway drawings and people took them, he was mad at the time because they weren't for personal, they were for everybody. But now we're happy because we get to see them. So there's a fine line between something that is just ephemeral and then some great painting that is expensive and is always in the best places.
I'm in Sao Paulo because I was invited to do a piece at the Bienal, where I did a painting directly on the wall.
Eu, no caso, fui monitor da Bienal, né, de 83. Então a gente estudou. Um ano antes da inauguração, a gente estudava cada artista. Então o Haring, a gente já, a partir de 82, já estava sabendo o que ele estava fazendo, né, um ano antes. Todo movimento tem que ter um carro-chefe, um cara assim, né? Que é uma locomotiva do processo, o cara que abre as portas, que dá legitimidade para as ações. E o Haring, nesse sentido, ele foi uma locomotiva do processo mundial, né? O Haring foi o primeiro a ter uma loja vendendo camiseta dele. O cara é uma referência, né? O Haring já era o top, assim, né? Em 83 já era o cara. Ele conseguiu fazer aquilo que todo mundo sonhava, né? No Brasil era difícil o reconhecimento de um artista de rua, ligado, vindo da rua, para as galerias. E eu percebi que o grafite arte de rua era uma nova mídia que estava rolando. Um pouco em cima da coisa do Haring, da coisa da percepção lá fora e tal. Eu, no caso, comecei a usar o grafite arte de rua, que era uma coisa que já tinha ligação de moleque, né? Já sabia pegar um spray, para não uma coisa estranha. Pegar um spray e desenhar. E aí eu comecei a levar a sério a coisa da arte de rua. O Brasil ainda era uma ditadura, né? A gente era preso direto, não podia pintar. E a gente, como não tinha dinheiro, no Brasil mais pobre, a gente pintava com cal, com latex. Spray é um luxo, né? Hoje em dia tem material legal, tem loja, tem galeria de street art. Em 30 anos o cenário mudou muito, né? A gente está vivendo um boom do street art, da arte de rua. Então, de você ir lá tocar a campanha do sujeito da casa do cara, pedir autorização, E você passa um domingão, sabadão com sol gostoso e pinta um painelzão. Me impressionava demais, cara, que ele conseguia a mão livre fazer uma coisa tão bacana assim, sabe? O grafite, você ocupar grandes áreas com extenso é muito difícil, não ocupa. Então a gente também percebeu muito no Haring, eu lembro de ver quando eu fiz, quando ele pegou uma parede gigante, ele só fazia uma linha assim, eu ocupava e ficava bárbaro o desenho. Isso é uma coisa que parece fácil, mas é dificílimo. Por isso que eu acho que o Haring é tão genial, porque parece uma coisa assim, mas não é.
We never thought that art shouldn't belong to the elite because the elite is a great keeper of art, but it shouldn't be exclusively for them. Why are the average person that has to take a boring subway every day, why can't they benefit? Our whole time in group was, this is what we were against. It was like, kind of like punk rock, you know, breaking down this barriers of elitism in art. Two-year-old gesso, all the way from New York. We're gonna mix it with water, more water, and just stain the concrete lighter.
Oh yeah, what did he grab?
So I think a little more water. Just a little more water. Sun is out. Already drying. That's it. Right there. Way to go. I like it. During his life, he had amazing success, but at the same time, there was a kind of a looking down upon his commercial side, which people viewed as selling out, which is such bullshit.
at the point when the art world was interested in sort of participating in it, it would have been very easy to sort of just sort of hide in the safety of the art world and to survive from just staying in the studio making artwork. These works were made for this age. I mean, they were made to communicate through the media. They were made that they could be shrunk down to an inch by an inch and still translate. They were about communicating information and about the power of the line. And I was always totally interested in contemporary means of communication.
He really did a lot of projects to give. Keith didn't have a lot of money yet. He's just beginning to make it and have money. And he financed of himself the buttons, have the buttons and, you know, gave to everyone, boxes of buttons to everybody. He put the whole market upside down in a way. He controlled how those things are going to be commercialized, by whom, and those things are going to be given. He was the one who was saying, not somebody manipulating him into do that. So it drove the art dealers crazy because they lost their grip on him.
In this program, we talk about money. Neste programa, a gente fala sobre dinheiro. Do you think art is money? Money is art. Você acha que arte é dinheiro? Dinheiro é arte?
I think Andy Warhol said that. Oh, no!
Aí ele disse que Andy Warhol já falou aquilo. E ele está tendo um acidente com a tinta, então... Ele não quer falar sobre dinheiro porque ele disse que Andy Warhol já falou sobre isso. Então ele não quer se repetir. Mas eu acho que ele acredita assim que arte seja dinheiro e dinheiro seja arte. Quem não, hoje em dia?
Now you look at all these artists. Take Murakami, for instance. They had the store in the museum. And everybody thought that was so cool. Why wasn't it cool to have the pop shop, you know? For the art world. It's that fine line that I thought that Andy had erased in the 60s.
I'm staying at the house in Laos with Kenny and Tracy in Brazil, and after we're there for a few weeks, we go into town because we've got to call New York. While we're waiting to call New York, I'm sitting in Tracy's parents' house and looking at books that are there, one of which is Andy Warhol's America. We call New York, and the first thing Tony tells me is that Andy has died a week earlier. I called him the day before I left for Brazil because we had talked on the telephone constantly. He had been taking a nap, and I woke him up, and he was in this really weird state of mind because he was sort of just woken up from sleep. And so we had this really sort of surreal, sort of mystical conversation. It was very strange, which, in looking back, after that being the last conversation, was a very strange conversation.
Everybody was dying. Our hero died. Our friends were dying. You see someone in the street and they'd have that look, and then they'd be dead. So many social events revolved around funerals and memorial services. When we were barely 30 years old, I felt very alone. I didn't have my group anymore. And it didn't feel like it was worth going out. It really didn't. Even when he was 20 years old and no one had ever heard of AIDS or anything, he used to tell me that he was going to die soon. And I used to tell him, shut up, stupid. But he did have this feeling that, he was always on this very intense drive to, like, he did more than anybody in the smallest amount of time, very concentrated and focused. He knew he didn't have, that much time. He just knew it. He didn't know why. When he started to really get sick, his output didn't slow down at all. You would think that someone would be too tired to be able to work, but he didn't stop. He kept making murals and public projects. I don't know how, must have been so hard. He was very brave. I actually made a promise.
You made a promise?
I said it would not to worry, you can just relax. That it's just going to keep going on and on and on. All right. Get away! I think that the art of our time and Keith, there's a lot more to it than people realize and that they haven't discovered yet.
It's very modern, didn't age. A lot of people say Keith looks very much like the look of the 80s. That's people going to associate to that, as in, I don't know, Peter Max for the 60s or something. Okay, fine. Peter Max is very 60s, but Keith is, you see now, it looks exactly like it was done now.
He's still so around everywhere. Everybody's still talking about him and thinking about him and looking at what he did.
The kids totally react the same way they reacted 2 generations back.
It doesn't seem like 20 years ago. It's not.
That's a true mark of something that, is last. It has its function. I mean, the spirit, there's nothing can kill that.
And the impact is only beginning.
She's going